of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Welcome back into The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. I hope everybody out there is having a good Tuesday afternoon. Little yucky outside, chilly. But, hey, it is late November, so I guess this is, early December. This is what we're supposed to have this time of year. But joining me today is Philip Tang, again, from Lee University. And, Philip, thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah, back-to-back days. How about that?
Back-to-back days. And of course, now, I know a lot of people know who you are, but there may be a few people out there listening to us right now that have never heard of you. And so tell everyone out there who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Philip Tang. I'm the Lee University Athletic Communications Director. So I do a little bit of everything for athletics, take photos, videos as needed, or broadcast, or do PA, or do stats, just whatever is needed for a certain game I do.
Yeah, so you've been doing this for a little while. So and obviously, if you listen to the station on Thursday, you'll be hearing you and calling some basketball.
Yep.
It's starting at 5:30 on Thursday.
Yep, myself and George Starr, who's been doing it for a long time. We're going to have the games on Thursday and then on Saturday.
George Starr, a long time at the Cleveland Daily Banner. Then he's been at Lee for the longest
about 33,
time.
34 years now, yeah.
So, yeah, I was listening to you guys the other day, and, it's fun. Y'all have a pretty good chemistry together.
Yeah,
I think
we
it's
figured
really
out how it works. Balance off well with one another, that's for sure.
There's a little, and tell me if I'm wrong here, you guys kind of like, both of y'all do a little play-by-play and a little color.
Yes,
a
little bit, yeah. George does the main play-by-play, then I'll add in a little bit descriptive stuff to help, because we're doing a radio and a kind of a TV broadcast, so sometimes maybe a little over descriptive for TV, but need it for the radio side.
Yeah, but it's a really good. Y'all do a great job, and like I said,
appreciate it. Yeah,
you've got good chemistry there. All right, let's get into what we want to talk about today. Later today or tonight, we're going to have the 5th installment of the College Football Selection Committee's Top 25, and this one is extremely important. Obviously, the one that's coming up this coming Sunday is the most important because that will fill out the brackets, if you will. But this one is very important because it's where are these teams who have already – they've got a full body of work completed. They're not playing any conference championship games, so there's no chance for them to win a game or lose a game. I think it's going to be extremely interesting to see where they have these teams ranked tonight. And I know there's a chance of some strength of schedule going up or down based on conference championship games, but I don't know if it's enough to make a major move. I'm very curious at how they're going to see the teams like BYU, who's the only 11-1 team that's in this mix here, Alabama, Texas, Notre Dame, Miami of Florida, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt. Where do they have those schools ranked? I think it's extremely interesting.
Well, for tonight, I think tonight's a little more straightforward for some of the schools, but then after this championship on Saturday, we'll definitely, I think, shake a wrench into quite a bit. But the team we talked about a little bit yesterday, where does Ole Miss land? Because that, and then where does Alabama land? Because they made the championship game. They beat Auburn. Do they jump Oklahoma? Or do they jump Notre Dame?
I don't know. But see, here's the thing. This past weekend, of those three teams you just mentioned, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama, Notre Dame looked like the better team, but they were probably playing the weakest opponent.
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, that makes a difference on how you look. Alabama, Auburn, that's a rivalry game. You literally can throw the records out. I mean, seriously, you can throw the records out because there's so much the energy's so high in that contest. So
Auburn almost made the comeback.
They did.
Almost made that comeback.
And of course, that guy, he fumbled that ball there. Oh, man. He was just sick to his stomach.
He's going to be sick to his stomach for a long time on that one.
And then you mentioned Ole Miss, and I'm glad you did because that was something I was going to bring up here in a little bit. Does the selection committee drop Ole Miss, who's sitting there 11-1, down a couple notches because they lost their head coach? I don't know if they do or not. I don't know if you heard this. Charlie Weiss Jr. had gone to Baton Rouge with Lane Kiffin. He is joining the staff.
Right.
But today they're going to allow him to come back to Oxford and to continue being the offensive coordinator throughout the duration of.
I missed that.
That just came down just a few minutes ago. So that's a little interesting there. So that helps a little bit with Ole Miss, but it's still. I have a feeling we may see Ole Miss maybe a notch down where we think they probably should be, based on the fact they've lost their head coach.
Well, was it Florida State a couple years ago that lost their quarterback and essentially got bumped out?
Yeah.
This is different though because it's a coach and there's not a player on the field.
That's true. But
lost for whatever reason.
And the biggest difference there is that we actually got to see Florida State playing without Jordan Travis.
Uh-huh.
We saw how they changed. They
right.
didn't look like the same team. We've never seen this Ole Miss team play a game without Lane Kiffin on the sidelines in 2025. We don't know how big a difference this makes. I mean,
how much did Lane Kiffin call plays, or did he let Charlie
he's the
Weiss?
head coach.
Right.
He's the head coach. Everything went through him. He may not have. Listen, the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinators have a lot of power, but everything still has to go through the head coach.
Right.
The head coach is the ultimate decision maker.
Right.
And he can override and overrule these coordinators when they're calling their plays. That being said, and plus, he makes the decision, it's 4th down and 2 on our own 45-yard line. Do we go for it or do we punt it? Tough calls, tough decisions. Those are the decisions that the head coach makes. Obviously, Golding's going to make those now. He is the new head coach at Ole Miss, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. And I'm gonna predict that the offense is going to look pretty much the same, and I'm going to predict the defense is going to be pretty much the same. But it's the decisions, the ultimate decisions of Golding making, that maybe he makes a different decision than what Lane Kiffin would have made, or maybe a trick play here or there.
I'm going to predict they're not going to drop them, but maybe one spot, just depending on even if you stay there, how wins and losses go. I don't think they're going to drop them much, because below them, maybe Texas A&M they lost. Oklahoma didn't really have a great, big opponent.
Would you have Texas A&M above or below Ole Miss?
Below.
I'd have them above. See, we differ there. I would have Texas A&M ranked higher than Ole Miss. I know that they both have one loss, and Texas A&M's loss was just past Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I still would put them ahead of Ole Miss because of the Lane Kiffin factor.
Yeah, sure, and I see it as what have you done for me recently? And then
I get that.
A&M lost the last eye test we just saw against Texas on the road, granted, but Ole Miss's loss was to Georgia a handful of weeks ago, so they've had a chance to improve. We don't know what Texas A&M is going to do after their first loss. They're mad they're not in the SEC championship game.
Yeah.
But I'd see. They both have one loss now. I'd see A&M behind Ole Miss. I think that's what's going to happen.
I think it's going to be extremely interesting to watch and pay attention. Now, let me ask you this. Yesterday, we got into all this stuff a little bit, but we didn't get into some of the meat and potatoes part of it. Do you think that Ole Miss wins a national championship under Lane Kiffin within 5 years?
You mean LSU?
What did I say?
Ole Miss.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
I know that Ole Miss is not going to win a national championship under Lane Kiffin. No, LSU. Do you think LSU wins a national championship under Lane Kiffin within 5 years?
I will say no. I will say it would be at least 6. I think he's going to get. I think you'll get the semifinals, and maybe even the championship game. But I predict he'll not win the big one.
Okay.
I think he could get Final Four and lose to Ohio State, or get to the championship game and lose to a Georgia. But I don't think in the next 5 years, personally, I don't think LSU will win a national championship.
It is going to be very interesting. I mean, and here's the thing. LSU and Ole Miss, they play each other every year, and that's going to continue.
Yes.
And of all the way that things worked out, LSU is in Oxford at Ole Miss next year. I'm telling you right now,
so many boos.
Ticket prices are going to be so high for that game.
Oh.
The secondary ticket market
yeah.
is going to be crazy, man. Ole Miss just might add extra seats for that one game only. Seriously, if they can fit them in somewhere. I don't know if they could though, but no, that's going to be maybe the most hostile crowd of all time.
It might be, and Lane Kiffin might need double the security. Standing next to him nonstop in that game.
He's getting the security like the president of the United States. I mean, seriously.
He may have to fly in and land 20 minutes before kickoff
and have a police escort into the stadium.
Yes. Because if he's in the stadium for too long, he's going to get booed mercilessly. I don't know.
I mean, that is going to be. And I know, listen, we're getting ahead of ourselves because we're talking about the 2026 season. We still got a lot of college football in 2025 to go. Before I forget, and it's so weird because I used to be such a recruiting junkie. Okay?
Yes.
I used to follow that stuff like you wouldn't believe. I'd waste more time looking at guys and, oh my gosh, this guy has flipped his commitment from this school to that school, and let's check out those ratings and those rankings of the top classes and everything. The early signing period is tomorrow, and we're going to see a lot of kids are going to sign. No, there's a lot of kids that will not sign yet. They're going to push it back till the spring, signing period, only because there's some kids that they're not sure where they're going to go. Who's going to be the head coach? Is this guy going to still be my head coach? This school doesn't even have a head coach right now. So there's kids they're kind of like. Basically, they're treading water right now.
Right, and I was listening to the Dan Patrick show this morning, and Devin McCourty was on, and he said more and more kids rather play for the coach than a lot of times the program. And so you're exactly right when it comes to who is the coach at this program or the school. Are they going to be there in February, or who's going to be there in February? That's going to delay my signing until I know who the coach is going to be and how can they develop me, whatever position it may be.
Yeah, I believe that's listen. And I know there's going to be a lot of kids. They're going to sign on the dotted line tomorrow, but man, we still got coaches that are kind of like Penn State's job's still open. Okay,
which is kind of surprising.
It is surprising because they were one of the first ones to open up. They're still open. Now you've got the head coach at BYU. He has said he's going to stay there at BYU because Provo. I mean, they've got a lot of money there too.
Better weather probably long.
Well, and you got like a Manny Diaz at Duke, who's in the ACC championship game this weekend. He's got Penn State ties. He was at Penn State as an assistant coach. I mean, I don't know what kind of class that Duke's got right now, but let's just say that they get 15 guys signed on the dotted line tomorrow. Then all of a sudden, Manny Diaz ups and leaves and goes to Happy Valley. Now you got kids who are like, well, I wanted to play for Manny Diaz, and he's no longer the coach. And we all know that if a head coach leaves, he always takes some assistant coaches with him.
Sure, yes.
And so that's always one of those kind of scary situations for this time of year. Other than there are certain schools we know the head coach isn't going anywhere. We know Ryan Day's going to be at Ohio State. We know that Kurt Signet is going to be at Indiana. We know Lane Kiffin's going to be at LSU.
Right.
So a lot of these guys aren't going anywhere. But there's some guys who are rumored to be maybe looking around or sniffing around, and then those are the ones that if I would recruit, I'm holding off. I'm not doing that tomorrow.
Well, this is also something that I brought up yesterday in the show. Like the calendar is so weird for college football. Why do we have to have the early signing day for high school athletes in December? Why can't it wait till January or early February when more of the dust is settled?
Well, and also you've got the portal opens up.
Right.
I think it was is it January 5th? I think it's
that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Like the transfer portal, the dust is settled a little bit, and that way coaches know who they have and don't have when you're going to sign these high school kids. Because a lot of these times these high school kids will sign, and all of a sudden, the quarterback signs. All of a sudden, 2 other transfer portal quarterbacks come in. I'm now the 4th string quarterback.
Exactly, and that's one of the positions where, if you're a quarterback, and what Arch Manning did was so unique. He sat for 2 years behind Quinn Ewers.
Yes.
2. Because Quinn Ewers could have gone to the NFL draft a year earlier than what he actually did. But he stayed behind him. And a lot of people were like, what is Arch Manning doing? He's crazy. He should have transferred. Well, he didn't. He stayed there in Austin, and this is his first year starting, and had a little slow start to the season, but he's finished strong. But that is one of the unique situations because most quarterbacks, they're not sticking around waiting. They want to see the field because that's the one position where you need reps with the first team over and over and over to get everything down pat. And so you're right. You got a quarterback situation here or there that a kid might be seeing the writings on the wall. They obviously don't have any faith in me because they're recruiting 5-star guys, bringing them in, or they're getting transfer portal guys in. I think I need to probably enter the transfer portal and leave myself.
If I'm a talented enough like defensive end or a linebacker, I would wait and just see what shakes out. Because if you're truly good enough and coaches want you, they'll save a spot for you on that roster. Like if you're a 4 or 5-star linebacker,
and in those positions you can rotate it anyway during the game.
Right. So why sign really early? Just let the dust settle again.
That's
and say, all right, my 4 choices are Penn State, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida. Let's see what happens. Let's see who Penn State gets before I commit to somewhere else. And if Penn State gets the coach I really want to play for, I go to Penn State. It's December 3rd tomorrow is the early signing.
That's right.
Why are we letting kids sign this early?
I don't know. But that is the situation.
Because most college students don't make a decision until April.
Right.
If you're not playing athletics, because you're trying to decide where's the most scholarships I can get, or where's the program best for me fit-wise.
Here are the top recruiting classes, and this is according to On3, which is the Rivals site. And Rivals has been my go-to recruiting forever, although there's probably 4 or 5 big ones out there that you can go to. But right now, according to Rivals, USC has the number 1 recruiting class. Lincoln Riley's done a great job. Notre Dame is number 2, Oregon 3, Ohio State 4. Georgia has slipped down to 5. Jared Curtis, the number 1 quarterback in the country, has flipped his commitment from Georgia to Vanderbilt.
Well, Vanderbilt found the next quarterback, supposedly.
Right. Vanderbilt's going to be signing Jared Curtis tomorrow morning, so that's a big flip right there. Alabama is 6, Texas 7, Miami 8, Texas A&M is 9. Tennessee has the number 10 rated recruiting class, followed by LSU, which I have a feeling LSU's might get a little bit better.
Right.
After Lane Kiffin, because there's already I know at least one really highly touted 4-star guy flipping from Ole Miss to LSU tomorrow. Michigan is number 12, Florida 13, Florida State 14, Oklahoma is number 15, Clemson 16, Washington 17, North Carolina. Bill Belichick has the number 18th rated recruiting class, South Carolina 19, and Texas Tech is number 20. So those are the top classes according to Rivals as of about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Obviously, things can change between now and when they actually put their names on the line.
Well, looking at it here, what's interesting, Oregon is 3rd, but has the most 5-star recruits coming in with 5 right now, while USC, the number 1, only has 1 5-star.
Right. And see, I would prefer quality over quantity.
Yes.
And so I would prefer what Oregon's doing. That's just me. And I've always looked at that because let's be honest with you, Philip, you get a signing class of 25, 26, 27. By the time 3 years or 4 years rolls around, more than half that class is gone.
Right.
More than half the class is gone. They've either transferred or they've quit football or whatever, but they're no longer in the program. And that's just the reality of college football, especially with the transfer portal like we were talking about. Kids, I mean, we got kids nowadays playing for 4 different schools in 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
That's a thing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it happens at all levels. It's not just the big Power 4. It happens at D2
It happens
D3.
at Lee?
Not 4 in 4 years, no, but I've seen kids at other D2 schools that played one D2, transfer to another, transfer to another, transfer to another.
What's the transfer, I guess, issue, if there is one, at Lee University?
You lose kids to D1.
D1.
So,
Okay, so
like,
they're going up a notch.
Like, you know, you might lose we've lost a couple basketball players and a couple baseball players, and they go from D2 to a D1, not like elite D1, but an FCS level team.
Well, I get you. I get it.
So that's the biggest.
And
loss.
I can kind of get that. I do. I get that to a certain extent. I mean, obviously the coaches would love to have them because
yes.
if they're good enough to transfer up to Division I, they're probably really dominating at the Division II level.
Yeah, we had a couple of pitchers a couple of years ago for Lee that were All-American, like third-team All-American that ended up going to Division I.
Yeah. Do you ever pay attention to what happens to them after they leave?
Depends on if I really had a good relationship with them.
Right.
Some of them that maybe I didn't really know, not so much, but a couple of them I pay attention to see what they did, and some of them had success, and some have struggled a little bit more. Just
Right.
The competition's a little tougher overall.
That's true. Let's go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the teams on the bubble in the college football playoff. You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Right now, someone in a Hardee's kitchen is about to warm up your winter with the new grilled cheese bacon burger. Charbroiled 100% Angus beef, bacon, and Swiss and American cheese melting on our soft, buttery sourdough. And our new grilled cheese breakfast sandwich with sausage or bacon and a fried egg. Cozy up to the goodness of the new grilled cheese bacon burger and breakfast sandwich. For a limited time, only at Hardee's. Cinnamon Raisin Biscuits are back. Unwrap them while you can. Only for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Did you twist an ankle? Hurt your shoulder? Or maybe that weekend project left you with more than sore muscles? Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Our Urgent Ortho Walk-In Clinic in Cleveland is open Monday through Saturday, treating sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. There's no need to drive to Chattanooga for expert orthopedic care. Call, schedule online, or walk in today and get back to moving pain-free. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Center for expert care right when you need it.
Imagine a truck that doesn't just own the road, it dominates it. It's not just about the destination, it's about the journey. And our new GMC Sierra is elevating every moment of that journey for me. It's not just a truck, it's a lifestyle. Don Ledford didn't just sell me a truck. They saw the lifestyle I wanted, and they found me that truck.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell.
Check your wallet. Empty? Check your bills. Overdue? Check your stress level. Maxed? Now, check into cash. Check into Cash is your one-stop money shop, and we've got everything you need. Payday loans and flex lines of credit options? Check. Quick in-store services like money orders and wire transfers? Check. Turn your unused gift cards into cash? Oh yeah, check. And yes, we cash checks. All kinds. Fast. Check that off your list. Visit checkintocash.com or check into a store to get started. The process is simple, quick, and designed to get you the help you need fast. If you've been approved, you can leave with cash in hand. We have locations in the Chattanooga area, including Cleveland and Athens. Check in, cash out, and get on with life. Check into Cash. We fund today to make a better tomorrow. Subject to state regulations, eligibility, credit check, underwriting, and approval. Rates, restrictions, and fees apply. Visit a store for details.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. This Saturday, both the SEC and the Big Ten will crown conference champions, and both games are on ESPN. Cleveland 101.3. Saturday at 4, it's Georgia versus Alabama. At 8, it's Ohio State versus Indiana. Championship football coverage is presented by United Structural Systems. Listen to both of these epic games on ESPN. Cleveland 101.3 and on the ESPN Cleveland 101.3 app.
Cleveland, the all-new Select Flooring and Remodeling is now open at 5555 North Lee Highway. We carry the top flooring brands you know and trust: Mohawk, Shaw, Engineer Floors, and United Weavers. We also specialize in home remodeling and roofing, delivering quality you can count on. Take advantage of 24 months interest-free credit. Come see us Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to 2. Call us today at 423-889-3007. That's Select Flooring and Remodeling, 5555 North Lee Highway, Cleveland. From the floors to the roof, we've got you covered.
Have you seen what happens when a weed eater gets too close to vinyl siding? Ouch! Choose steel siding from Best Buy Metals, available in board and batten and lap siding options. Permanent siding from Best Buy Metals is custom manufactured to the half-inch for a perfect fit. Stop by a showroom or go to bestbuymetalroof.com to learn how you can protect your structure.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians, $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one. Medical, dental, vision insurance, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com. And we got Philip here filling in for the guys. Andy will be back tomorrow, but then they're both out Thursday and Friday. But the show goes on in spite of everything. Before we get into the bubble teams in the college football playoffs, I do want to take the time to talk a little bit about the ACC SEC Challenge, which is going on. It starts off tonight. Tennessee is at Syracuse. There are 9 games tonight. Virginia Tech at South Carolina, Oklahoma at Wake Forest, Texas A&M at Pitt. Florida is at Duke, which that's a great matchup there. Miami at Ole Miss. Georgia is at Florida State. Missouri is at Notre Dame, and North Carolina is at Kentucky. Sign me up for that. So last year, the SEC really dominated the ACC, but I have a feeling the ACC's going to play a little bit better this year. The SEC's not quite as dominant on the hardwood floor this year as they were last year, and I think the ACC has improved somewhat, so should be some good games on. And this used to be an ACC Big Ten challenge, but when the SEC and Big Ten parted ways, that went away because this is pretty much a Disney versus Disney because you got the SEC network, the SEC network, ESPN, ESPN2, all of them Disney owned, and that's what's going on now. So,
well, ACC has been the powerhouse conference for basketball for years.
Oh, it has.
I think the SEC has proven last year past the Big Ten in terms of just top to bottom depth in terms of basketball. So it made sense that ACC and SEC are compelling just because of how good the SEC has turned into in basketball.
Yeah, boy, but the SEC was just killing people this time last year. They've taken their lumps this year. The SEC has lost a lot of non-conference games so far, most of them to quality opponents. But this time last year, they were winning all those games. But it's cyclical.
Yeah, college basketball is more movement than college football does.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh Lord. Yeah.
Way more. So you don't know who's on what. You barely know who's on your favorite team half the time.
And you talk about transfer portal.
Oh yeah,
college basketball is through the roof. There's guys transferring all the time. We're talking about entire teams, entire rosters are flipped. I mean, no exaggeration. There have been entire rosters that have entered the transfer portal.
And I'm all for players being able to transfer, but sometimes it gets a little ridiculous of how many times you can transfer without having to sit out a year.
That's my thing. Okay, so that brings me up. We're talking about the ACC SEC Challenge. I came up with something last night, a way to eliminate the selection committee for the college football playoffs, and that would be have a challenge amongst all four conferences, big Power Four conferences, the ACC, the Big 12, Big 10, SEC.
Okay, I'm interested.
You'd have 24 games, okay, because you'd have 12 teams per conference.
Okay.
And so, obviously, you're playing each other. You'd have the same amount of teams on the road as at home. And the league that comes out with the highest winning percentage out of those games would get the most bids in the college football playoffs for that season. So you'd play the games like weeks 2 and weeks 3 of the college football season, and then we would know how many schools are going to get from the SEC, from the Big Ten, from the Big 12, from the ACC, and it could change. It wouldn't be like you're locked into the SEC and the Big Ten. They get 4 every year. Maybe one year the SEC gets 5. Maybe one year the SEC only gets 3 if they have a bad showing in this challenge. I just think it'd be a way to eliminate. And here's my thing: you eliminate selection committee. Let's say the SEC gets 4, the selection committee doesn't choose which 4. The Southeastern Conference decides. Here are our 4 teams, and then you have to me, I would have a panel. Of retired coaches and players that are not currently employed by any school or conference. They seed all 16. This would be a 16-team bracket. They seed them, and they do all of this stuff.
Well, can you imagine the politicking if the SEC chose the 4 teams? There's already politicking to get in, but it'd be crazy. But all right, so a couple questions on your idea that you came up with. So how would you decide which teams play who? Is it based on?
It's a rotating thing. It's a rotating.
Okay.
And every 10 years, every school must participate at least 3 times in a 10-year window.
Okay.
Okay. Not to say that you want to have some schools that participate every year. You might. You may have your Ohio States and Alabamas and your USCs and your Tennessees play every year, but you're also going to have the other schools that maybe sometimes are in, sometimes are out, and you make that determination at the end of the season prior, that which teams are going to be participating in the challenge, if you want to call it that.
So how do you decide who Tennessee would play?
That right there, of course, and here's the thing, everyone's playing 9 league games. So when you're playing 9 league games, that means 4 at home, 5 on the road, or 5 at home, 4 on the road.
Right.
If you have a 5-game home schedule, you must play on the road in the challenge, and vice versa. If you only have 4 home games, you're guaranteed a home game. Now, as far as which teams play which, I guess you'd have to have some kind of a, I don't know who decides that. There could be a formula put together, but there's only 2 options. Like the SEC, if you got the 2 SEC teams with 5 home games playing on the road or playing at home, would only have the option of only a couple schools that are playing. Either one Big 12, one Big 10, and one ACC team. So there'd be some choices, but there comes a point where you've run out of choices. So somehow it would make it work.
Definitely intriguing concept. Make you the commissioner of college football and let you get this into action.
I want to take the selection committee out as much as possible. Here's my thing. Let's say the SEC is in charge of their 4 teams. They can choose however they want. You can do straight from conference standings, flat out straight. Or you can say the SEC and the commissioner and the athletic directors, they choose them. However they want to do it's fine by me. But my thing is that the conference, you're going to be only making the teams that are left out are going to be mad at only the SEC. They can't be mad at other conferences.
Right.
Because
sure. Okay.
There's a set number and you have to live by it, and your league is going to determine whether you get in or not. And so if you want to get mad at someone, you got to get mad at your own league.
So would this take out championship games?
No, you can still have conference championship games. I would keep those. Listen, the SEC and the Big Ten are never going to get rid of those things because they're such big money makers.
Well, the Big Ten didn't have a conference championship for
a long time,
generations.
Yeah. Well, there was rules in place.
Right.
You had to be a 12-team league divided in divisions. Well, the Big Ten for the longest time was 11 teams. They had Penn State was the 11th team. They didn't add a 12th team until Nebraska in 2005, I think. So by rule, you couldn't have unless you were at 12 teams and had divisions. They changed that rule to where now you don't even have to have 12 teams and you don't even have to have divisions. That rule was changed, but it used to be a rule.
Right.
That's why the SEC had it for a long time, and the Big 12 had it for a long time when they were in divisions, but the Big 10 only had 11 teams. So they couldn't, by rule, they couldn't do it.
Well, that just, talking, excuse me, the Big 10 not having a championship game for years just shows it can be done.
Yes.
Now, obviously, you're right that it's such a big money-making game now, they're going to keep it as long as possible.
Well, when you watch the games this Saturday, Look at all the advertisers. Look at the big-time advertisers that are advertising during that game.
There may be more advertisers than actual gameplay.
Well, and if you look, the time of an SEC championship game is a little bit longer than a regular season game. The halftime's a little bit longer. Everything's a little bit longer, drawn out. The commercial break's a little bit longer. Got to get all those commercials. And, of course, by the way, my biggest pet peeve is the Dr. Pepper football throw where they toss it. It looks like a basketball toss.
Yes.
It's too short. It's only 10 yards away. They need to make it 15 or 20 yards away. You have to actually throw it like a real football, you know. That drives me crazy, and I'll watch the
I can't stand watching these kids like, oh, man, this looks awful.
Just make it a little bit longer, and you'd have a true champion, if you want to call it that. But no, so I'm one of these people. I'd like to see it change. All right, now, I know we got to hit break here in a little bit, but I do want to get into this. Make a case for these schools that are on the bubble. BYU, Alabama, Texas, Notre Dame, Miami, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt. Because half of those teams are not getting in. Okay. Half are, half aren't. That's going to be a very interesting, what we've seen tonight. Of those 7 teams I just rattled off, who do you feel most comfortable leaving out and the most confident putting in?
All right, so
between
BYU,
Alabama, Texas, Notre Dame, Miami, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt.
I would say unless BYU wins, they're out. I think Alabama should be in.
And, of course, now those 2 teams, ironically, determined their fate.
Yes.
Because they are in conference championship games. Alabama, if they win, they're a guaranteed in. If BYU beats Texas Tech, they're guaranteed to be in. So they aren't in the same boat as Texas, Notre Dame, Miami, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt, because their body of work is complete. So those are the schools that really, they're sitting on pins and needles because they don't have any control at this point. They had control during the regular season, and they lost a couple games, and they lost control. Now they're at the mercy of a selection committee.
Well, I would say probably, BYU, we mentioned BYU and Alabama. BYU would probably be out if they lost.
Right.
Alabama still might sneak in if they lost because their strength of schedule is.
Yeah, that's going to be awfully close. If I was Alabama, I wouldn't want to risk it.
I think Texas is out.
I do too.
I think Vandy is out.
And I'm not. And Texas is not out because they've got 3 losses. To me, Texas is out because of that horrible loss to Florida.
Yeah, Vandy. I agree with that. Vandy's out. Miami, I think, is going to be out. Just because they have a bad loss in there as well. I know they beat Notre Dame head-to-head, but Notre Dame has played so much better in the eye test the last couple of weeks than Miami has.
And then what about Oklahoma?
I think Oklahoma's in. I think they have a good enough strength of schedule. I mean, their losses were to
they lost to Texas and Ole Miss.
And Ole Miss, yeah.
And they lost to Ole Miss in Norman. They lost to Texas in Dallas at the Cotton Bowl in the Red River rivalry. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. The thing about Notre Dame, they lost 2 games. Both of them, one by 3 points and one by 1 point. They lost 2 Texas A&M basically because their field goal. We talk about Notre Dame field goal kicker mixed an extra point.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm like you. I feel most comfortable or confident in Notre Dame of all these teams, even more so than Oklahoma.
Well, Oklahoma's rattled off 4 straight wins, including at Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. So I mean, they're playing really well right now.
They are. Their defense is playing lights out. Man, their offense at times is almost unwatchable. They cannot move the ball for whatever reason against these elite teams that they're playing, but they win. They find a way to win.
Yeah, and that's
what it's all about.
That's what matters at this point. Is Oklahoma playing well enough to be in? I think so. I think Alabama is in, and I think Vandy and Texas are on the outside. Miami's on the outside looking in. Because there's gonna be some weird upset, like Duke winning and getting in. It's something's going to happen. Oh my gosh,
could you imagine? And then if Duke wins, they're not even guaranteed to get in because you may have the Sun Belt champion James Madison get in over Duke, which that would be interesting. But they said they put the 5 highest ranked conference champions, and if they feel like James Madison is ranked higher than Duke, then see you in ACC. You don't get in this year. So, and then Miami could still get in as an at-large, though. Let's go ahead and hit our last break of the day. You are listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. We'll be back after these messages.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Right now, someone in a Hardee's kitchen is about to warm up your winter with the new grilled cheese bacon burger. Charbroiled 100% Angus beef, bacon, and Swiss and American cheese melting on our soft, buttery sourdough. And our new grilled cheese breakfast sandwich with sausage or bacon and a fried egg. Cozy up to the goodness of the new grilled cheese bacon burger and breakfast sandwich. For a limited time, only at Hardee's. Cinnamon Raisin Biscuits are back. Unwrap them while you can. Only for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Did you twist an ankle? Hurt your shoulder? Or maybe that weekend project left you with more than sore muscles? Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Our Urgent Ortho Walk-In Clinic in Cleveland is open Monday through Saturday, treating sprains, strains, fractures, and more. No appointment needed. There's no need to drive to Chattanooga for expert orthopedic care. Call, schedule online, or walk in today and get back to moving pain-free. Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. The Center for expert care right when you need it.
This is Kim Gutter with TVFCU. From Thanksgiving thanks to Christmas cheer, TVFCU is proud to be here. For all of you, far and near, a place for all of us, and a very happy new year.
When the road gets tough, make sure your ride is ready at Cleveland Tire Center on North Lee Highway. They keep you rolling with the best brands, expert installation, and prices that fit every budget. Whether you need new tires, a quick rotation, or a full alignment, their certified team delivers fast, friendly service you can trust. Stop in today and feel the difference that quality makes. Cleveland Tire Center. Locally owned, dependable, and always ready to get you back on the road. Cleveland Tire Center. 4695 North Lee Highway, Cleveland, where the name says it all. Not all composite decking is the same. Enjoy life's beautiful moments on an equally beautiful composite deck. Envision's products feature deep, non-repeating grains and distinct colors throughout each pour, offering a truly unique appearance unlike anything else on the market. Learn more and find inspiration for your project at Cleveland Plywood. Cleveland Plywood Company, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland.
Do you suffer from unsightly leg veins? Are your legs turning brown or swelling? Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Do you have restless legs or leg cramps disturbing your sleep? These symptoms are signs of bad veins. Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Find more information online at milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682 and get rid of those bad veins.
At Alon Planning Partners, we understand that everything runs in seasons. The very meaning of our name, Alon, means oak tree, which is a deep-rooted symbol of stability. These are the kinds of financial plans we craft. We are committed to building comprehensive financial plans that enable individuals and families to thrive in every season. Call us today to claim your personalized and complimentary planning session, 423-315-1441, or visit us at alonplanning.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Listen up, Cleveland. The wait is over. Josh Porter here with Optimize You, the region's #1 hormone replacement clinic. We specialize in both men and women's hormones and are so excited to finally be here in Cleveland, ready to serve you. Find us online at OptimizeYouCenters.com. That's OptimizeYouCenters.com.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
When it comes to Mayfield Dairy ice cream, you'll never have a boring bite. Their limited edition ice creams, cherry chocolate chip and banana pudding, are inspired by traditional Southern recipes and seasonal favorites. Pick some up today at your local grocery store. And I got Philip Tang is in here hanging out with me, filling in for Andy and Jacob. So you're so talented, you can fill in for two people.
We try. Andy's got wrestling. I think he had some wrestling tonight. So it's that time of year when it's busy time for him.
He does, and Jacob's got some other things going on, and we'll share all that stuff once he gets back.
Right.
Everything's good. Don't want anyone out there to worry. But it was just one of those things. He's been a good husband. We'll just leave it at that.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that. Just curious, how many FBS college football openings do you think there or have been or are right now? Obviously, some of them have been filled, but
that are still open.
No.
Total.
There's been a coaching change of some sort.
I was looking at Football Scoop the other day. I was trying to remember. It's like almost 20.
23.
Okay, I was
23 now. I mean, it's absolutely. Last year, the SEC, there was not one coaching casualty in the SEC last year.
Which is shocking.
Five this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got guys. I mean, Kellen DeBoer, who just replaced Nick Saban, he's one of the most tenured coaches in the SEC now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Kirby Smart is the most tenured now that Stoops is no longer at Kentucky, but it's crazy. Here are the teams or the schools: Arkansas, Auburn, California, Coastal Carolina, Colorado State, UConn, Florida, James Madison, Kentucky, LSU, Memphis, Michigan State, Ole Miss, North Texas, Oklahoma State, Oregon State, Penn State, South Florida, Stanford, Tulane, UAB, UCLA, Virginia Tech. That's a large number and a lot of coaches. And here's the thing. Think about this, Philip. You got the SEC and ACC going from 8 league games to 9. So there's guaranteed more losses now for both of those leagues. So you wonder, these administrations, they're insane, some of these long contracts. I mean, the contract that Lane Kiffin is signing is absurd.
Right.
I mean, this guy, it's absurd what they've guaranteed him and promised him just to get him to flip from Ole Miss to LSU.
At some point, coaching contracts are going to be yearly. It's like, all right, are you going to be renewed? Did you do well enough? Yes.
Right.
Maybe that's the way it needs to be.
To me, that's what it needs to be. We'll pay you. We'll let you be the highest paid coach or right up there, top 5.
For 1 year.
For 1 year.
And then we'll see what
But you've got to earn your keep. You can't be making $12.5 million and you're sitting there with a 7-5 record 2 years in a row.
Right.
I'll give you a pass on a bad year. Things can just happen. You may have your top 2 quarterbacks go down and your third string guy is just not qualified to lead a team. I'll give you a pass a year here. But man, they're signing these guys to 7 and 8 years, and that's what's going on. That's why all these buyouts are so exorbitant. You know,
yes.
they're crazy big. There's no way that I would do this, because here's how I look at it. You're one of the most coveted places in America. You're going to get a good coach.
Yes.
You're going to get a good coach, and you know what? Maybe you can take off about 3 or 4 years and say, we'll renew it. We'll add a year at the end of the regular season based on your performance. And to me, that's when you're incentivized by, if you win, you get another year added to the end of your contract. To me, that's the way you do it.
Right. Well, going back to the SEC schools, look at this list. Arkansas, you kind of anticipated that Sam Pittman was on the hot seat, so that was not too much of a shock.
Yeah. But I'll be honest with you, I thought Bobby Petrino would do a pretty good job there and get that job after he took over. He went 0-7.
Yeah, he didn't.
He checked out, man. And I think Bobby Petrino's a heck of a coach, but he flat out checked out for that job.
He didn't do well then.
But
Hugh Freeze to Auburn, you was kind of anticipated he was on the hot seat.
Yeah, and they got Alex Gullish from South Florida. So Ryan Silverfield, by the way, from Memphis, is the new head coach at Arkansas.
And that one caused some controversy with the Arkansas fans, because Silverfield's been good at Memphis, but hasn't won like the important games.
Yep, that's
and
right.
that's why
what happened this past weekend. They got beat by Navy.
And so a lot of the Arkansas fans are concerned, like, yeah, he can bring in the recruits, but can he win the big games that we need to win to become relevant again?
That's one of the hardest jobs in the Southeastern Conference.
Arkansas,
yes. You're surrounded by some really big-time programs. You're surrounded by Oklahoma, Texas, Texas A&M, LSU, Alabama. you're in the middle of all of those schools, and Fayetteville is not the easiest place to get in and out of.
No.
Okay? It is out actually in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I've been to Fayetteville for basketball. It's a really nice area.
It's nice there, but getting there is not the easiest thing in the world. I don't know if you know this, but for years Arkansas used to play games in Little Rock, about half their games.
Right.
Well, now the stadium in Fayetteville is much nicer than War Memorial Stadium there in Little Rock, so they rarely do that anymore. But man, it used to be you'd look at Arkansas' schedule, and about half the games in Fayetteville, the other half in Little Rock, and it was the bigger games were in Little Rock.
Right.
You know, the
That's easier
bigger,
to get to.
the bigger games were usually played in Little Rock. It's kind of like when Alabama, they used to play their bigger games in Birmingham at Legion Field, and their smaller games in Tuscaloosa, because the Legion Field was just a bigger facility than Bryant Denny, which was then called Denny Stadium. But yeah, so it's changed over the years.
Well, Arkansas has got what it's got going for it. It's the only Power 4 school in that state.
Right.
But for whatever reason, it's just hard to win in football there.
You can win in every other sport, though. Basketball, they've had a ton of success. Baseball, track and field. I mean, Arkansas has been really successful in everything. I did some research on this program one time. Since they joined the SEC, they're under 500 in football.
That doesn't surprise me.
Before they joined the SEC, Arkansas was a power. They were the second best team in the Southwest Conference. Texas was number 1. Arkansas was number 2. Texas A&M was number 3. And they have just, I'm not going to say they're irrelevant, but they're about as close to being irrelevant as you can get in the SEC.
Well, they're like Vandy was. Essentially right now, this year, they are Vandy compared to what Vandy used to be.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about what Vandy used to be. We're talking about only about 2 years ago.
Right.
2 years ago, Vanderbilt was everyone, they were a doormat.
But before Clark Lee.
Yeah. Now, they did have that little run of success under James Franklin, but generally, Vanderbilt's been just an also-ran, just another team, that we got to play. But, man, things have changed. And the thing about Arkansas, they've got all that Walton money, the Walmart money, if you will, that's funneled into the University of Arkansas. And they, for whatever reason, they cannot take advantage of it on the football side. Like I said, all other sports, Arkansas does really good in literally every sport except for the biggest sport out there, which is football. It is one of the most weird things. If you look at, like I said, if you look at the history of Arkansas from when they began to 1991, Arkansas was a real powerhouse in the AP rankings, in the top 10 a lot of times, every year. And ever since then, they've had their little success here and there. By the way, I don't know if you know this, SEC began in 1933. Of the teams that have been added, like Arkansas and South Carolina, Missouri, Texas A&M, and now Texas, Oklahoma, none of those 6 schools have ever won the SEC in football, the conference championship game. There's never been a newcomer has never won the SEC championship game. It's not going to happen this year either, because you got Georgia and Alabama again.
That's a nice little nugget to keep in there.
They played in it. Arkansas was actually played in the game, got beat. Missouri's played in the game, got beat. Obviously, Texas was in it last year. They got beat. So those teams have made it to the SEC championship game, but no, what I call newcomer, has ever won that conference championship game. Of all the conference championship games, is that your favorite, the SEC?
I don't know.
Does it depend on what's going on in the other leagues?
I think so. I think it depends on what the matchup is. Maybe like this year, probably the Big Ten is the most intriguing.
I mean, it's 1 versus 2.
It's 1 versus 2. So
it's
yeah, it's
by the way, it's only the 55th time in the history of college football 1 and 2 have played ever. And what I find, I don't know if you know this, Game Day, ESPN Game Day, is going to the SEC championship game instead of the Big Ten championship. Right. They've never ever not gone to a number 1 versus number 2 game ever. So this is the first time.
Growing up, sometimes the Big 12 matchup was always intriguing because you never knew what was going to happen. Like Kansas State get hot one year,
oh my gosh.
Texas A&M and Texas. That growing up, that was always the fun one because you knew SEC, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia were going to be there, but the Big 12, you never knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, you'd have Nebraska in there sometimes. Like you said, you'd have every now and then, like you said, you'd have a Kansas State would make it, or an Oklahoma State would make it. Usually, you'd had at least a Texas, an Oklahoma, or Nebraska, at least one of them somewhere.
One of those 3, right?
But man, of course, now the Big 12 it's still a Power 4 conference, but it's not nearly what it once was. I mean, to me, I don't know how you feel about it. I don't like what's happened in collegiate athletics with what I call the super conferences. I think it's hurt regional rivalries, the regionality of college football. Missouri's not in the Southeast.
No,
Missouri does not fit in the SEC. I don't even think Oklahoma and Texas fit in the SEC. I think the SEC was those 10 teams, LSU being the most Western, and to me that was the SEC that I grew up enjoying and liking.
Well, at some point it should develop into like the NFL model, where you've got 4-team like mini conferences, and then you just rotate who you're playing. So like Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, just off the top of my head, those 4 are in the thing. Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
Like pods.
Pods, yeah. And then they just rotate who they play every year. At some point, because that will help preserve some of these old rivalries.
Yeah, I miss the Oklahoma. Like we just had rivalry weekend. I mean, Ohio State and Michigan. We had Alabama, Auburn. You know what we didn't have? We didn't have Oklahoma, Nebraska. We didn't have Penn State, Pitt. I grew up with those rivalries. Those were rivalries on that same rivalry weekend.
You could also say Oklahoma State. You could have had those as well.
Bedlam.
Yeah.
Bedlam. I missed that. But, I mean, the Oklahoma-Nebraska rivalry back in the 70s didn't take a back seat to anyone. That was probably the most intense rivalry in all of college football. And they don't even play each other anymore. They may play occasionally, but they usually play in September. But they played they played the same weekend, Ohio State, Nebraska, Alabama, Auburn. You don't see that anymore. And that's the thing. I always liked UCLA and USC. So you got these conferences that you still got some of these rivalries, but not all of them. I hate that Bedlam is gone, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
Well, maybe what we need to do is just take each team has like one rival and just throw every other game and just throw it in a computer and let the computer spit out your schedule between the Power 4, and here's what you do.
And one thing and I don't want the college football to be like the NFL, but the NFL, you don't have the same games played at the same time of year either. You're not always going to play, like Ohio State, Michigan, it's always late November.
Right.
I mean, the NFL model, you could have Ohio State, Michigan playing October 3rd. That's the one thing I do like about college football are those great rivalries are all played at the same time of the year every year. It's kind of like Georgia, Florida. They're playing in October. Oklahoma and Texas, they play in early October. I'm okay with that if that's their rivalry. The one unique rivalry out there is Notre Dame and USC. If the game is played in South Bend, it's in October. If it's playing in Los Angeles, it's playing late November.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those
because
quirks.
of the weather factor.
Well, the NFL has done a little bit more of you're getting your division rivals later on in the year.
They do that the last
like Chicago,
week.
Green Bay, or Kansas City, Las Vegas, or Kansas City, Denver. They're later on in the year. But
yeah, they
the
have
big games
done that.
Middle could be September 3rd, and it's one of the biggest games of the year.
But it might be. Kansas City might play Las Vegas one year, play Denver the next year, and then play someone else the other year. So it's not like the same team, but they do put divisions versus divisions the last week of the season, and that's helped.
Yeah, it definitely helps. But we'll see what happens. All right, quickly before I want to throw this at you, which of these college openings would intrigue you the most that are still open? Cal, James Madison, Memphis. I want to throw Penn State out because Penn State's probably the best one. Tulane or South Florida?
Cal. Yeah, University of California. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's a big-time school. I know they're in the ACC. They're not geographically. It's not a good fit, but to me, that's the clear choice for me. I've seen Cal be very, very successful before. And I've seen other success for those other teams, the other schools you just mentioned. But of those openings there, I would say Cal for me. What about you?
I would go with James Madison because I feel like they're trying to get into that Power 4. They've got the almost the money that the Power 4 spends, and they're in the Sun Belt, and they're trying to make that next jump.
And they're dominating that league. By the way,
yes, they are.
They haven't been in there very long, and they have dominated since the get-go. And they may find themselves in the playoffs No, I guess really Tulane, the winner of the Tulane and North Texas game is probably going to get in over James Madison. Right. But I guess there's always an outside chance, maybe. I guess tonight we'll have to see where's James Madison. Are they ranked in the top 25? My thing, just Tennessee, did they drop out of the top 25 tonight?
They might.
They dropped out of the AP.
Yeah, after that loss to Vandy on Saturday, they might.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, thanks so much for coming in, man.
Sure.
Appreciate it. And we'll be able to hear you again on Thursday, right?
At 5:30, Lady Flames and Flames take on Montevallo in the first conference game of the year.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it.
Yep, for sure.
Hey, you've been listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. Hope everyone has a great Tuesday.
Listen to the Alon Exchange, hosted by financial professionals Jay and Brittany Hagee, owners of Alon Planning Partners. Each week they discuss all things financial and answer your questions about investing, preparing for retirement, paying down debt, and more. The Alon Exchange, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on ESPN Cleveland 1013.
Hey, this is Alfonso, the general manager of Crown Cleveland, your local home for Jeep and Ram. I'm here to announce that we have revamped our express lane. We are fully staffed and ready to take care of all your quick lube and oil needs. Please Google Crown Cleveland and see our great service specials.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 1013, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 1013.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.